a more effective way to gain knowledge, like to download all of the knowledge that you're looking for, and to make sure that you actually go ahead and implement it in your own life rather than just get sucked into the constant like cycle of new regurgitated reiterations of the same thing over and over again that the algorithm is going to feed you. I think the safer way to do it is to read books. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. Reading has been around since the dawn of time, right? Going back to reading books, it sounds very simple, but sometimes the simplest, most traditional ways are the most effective. That's why these techniques have been around for so long, right? That's why reading has been a thing for so long, even with the development of the technology age, even as we're moving into the age of AI. I mean, books themselves are being written now by AI, and people are selling them as if they wrote it themselves. However, I feel like it's still, I mean, in the future, AI is only going to get more sophisticated. So I don't even know how it's going to look in the future. But as of now, at least, I can tell you that when I read something written by AI versus what's written by an actual human, I can tell the difference immediately. As humans, we still have that discernment within us. You know, it's not going away. Like, this is something that has been ingrained in our species. It's like a sixth sense that we've had for generations upon generations. So we just need to tap into it, you know? And I think, again, one of the best ways to do it is that if you're not, I'm not saying that you shouldn't consume content anymore. Like, this is a part of our daily lives now. This is just part of our lifestyles now. And I myself love social media. I love consuming other creators' content. I love riffing off of the discussions that other people are having. I don't see anything wrong with that per se, but when it comes to the point where again, I find myself like stalling in my actual life, not really getting anywhere with my goals, that's when I feel like, okay, it's time to take a step back and go back to basics, you know, go back to the traditional method of reading books. When you read a book, that gives you kind of a nice protective buffer. It gives you the time that is necessary to digest the information that you just read, which will then give you the space to naturally move towards, okay, now let me take action by implementing, you know, this new nugget of information that I learned from this book. That is the beauty of good old-fashioned reading, because yeah, again, it gives you that like it's a more natural pace, I think, for us. It's a more natural process to like read a book and then, you know, take some time to download and digest all of the information in there. And then if the information in that book resonated with you, then naturally you will start like making a game plan, implementing the strategies that you just learned to further yourself in a certain goal or area of your own life. Whereas when you're consuming content on social media in particular, that's very distracting, right? Because then you have the added element of maybe you have a parasocial relationship with that creator. So it's not just that you're consuming the content, you also feel this kind of like kinship with the creator. And, you know, it can get confusing, right? Because now your attention is not just focused on gaining this new piece of knowledge to help yourself in your life. Now you're getting distracted by, oh my God, I feel like this person is an older sister to me. And then now you feel like, okay, maybe if you're particularly stressed and you want to have some human connection, you find yourself like sending them super chats during their live streams and whatnot, which there's nothing wrong with, right? Like, by the way, my super chats are open if you want to ever support my channel. Like, there's nothing wrong with any of that. There's nothing wrong with joining a community online based on an ideology or an interest that you have. But like I said, the distractions are too much, you know? It's overload for our human brains. Like, we have not evolved yet to be able to handle all these distractions while still staying on the path of what we're supposed to do, like for ourselves. And so that's why I say that I think reading books is a good way to kind of scale back, step back, and cut out all the noise. That way you can just go straight to the information and do what you got to do to move forward in your own life. So when it comes to content, I would say, you know, temper your consumption. But if that is even too difficult, you might want to take like just a straight up 1 week or 2 week detox from social media, because It's addictive, yeah, it's designed to be addictive. The algorithm is quite literally designed to keep you, in a cycle of consumption over and over again, and, it can get very, very dark, you know? It's not all doom and gloom, I'm not trying to say that, like, for example, I like makeup, so the algorithm is gonna keep recommending me new makeup reviews. That's not necessarily, like, a bad thing, but when it comes to the area of, like, certain wounds that you might have from childhood, right? Like abandonment wounds, or if you dealt with a narcissistic ex before, or if you were taken advantage by men before, or if you have, like, trauma and limiting beliefs surrounding money. Let's say that you grew up with humble beginnings, and so as an adult, that caused you to be, like, overachieving or just overly zealous when it comes to making money. Those types of wounds, they make you very vulnerable to consuming content around those topics, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but, like I said, sometimes there are bad actors out there that they don't necessarily have your best interest at heart, right? People who are running those channels, they're trying to make a living too off of their content. So that's why, like, I do follow a handful of creators where I feel like I almost trust creators more these days when I see that they're clearly not dedicated to uploading on a consistent schedule. Like, there are creators, coaches, philosophers, what have you, out there that make it a point to not upload consistently. Like, you can tell or sometimes they voice explicitly that that is not their goal. They make it clear that they're only gonna come on and upload when they have something of actual importance to say, right? But aside from that, they are silent. And I found, like, more and more in recent days that I tend to trust those creators a lot more intuitively. I just feel like their words are more valuable than the creators that claim that they're here to help you overcome whatever wound or obstacle in your life, and yet they upload like clockwork every single week to make sure that they can, capitalize on your attention and continue to line their own pockets. So, yeah, it's a crazy new world that we're living in these days. But you know what? We're gonna do what humans have always done since the beginning of time, and that is to adapt to our environment and to the changing times. We're gonna adapt and thrive, but you gotta center yourself and you gotta learn how to cut out all the noise and keep bringing the attention back to yourself. That's all I wanted to say for today. I will leave you on that note today, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.